The supposed truth as to why Harry and Meghan's Netflix deal is continuing.
Wow! Meghan Markle and her spare Prince Harry have struck an amazing new deal with Netflix. Or have they?
You won't believe the bombshell that just dropped about Harry and Meghan's Netflix deal. Sources are now claiming that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex aren't celebrating their contract extension at all. They're trapped in what insiders are calling a content prison, forced to keep producing shows not because Netflix loves them, but because they already pocketed the money and now have to work it off like some kind of Hollywood debt collection scheme. This isn't the success story Meghan and Harry want you to believe.
Oh, look, I put some string around some biscuits and, oh, look, I'm crumbling cheese. And us all going, oh, wow, that's amazing. It's the second coming.
According to explosive new reports, when Netflix sat down with the couple to discuss their future, it wasn't a friendly negotiation about creative partnerships. It was a financial reckoning, where executives basically said, pay us back with content or face the consequences. Think about it. We've been wondering why this so-called power couple keeps churning out mediocre specials and documentaries that nobody really wants to watch. The answer might be simpler and more shocking than anyone imagined. They can't walk away because they're contractually obligated to work off a debt that could reach into the tens of millions. A source close to Netflix reportedly told Express that Harry and Meghan were paid massive money upfront for their original contract.
That posse of pathetic sycophants.
She'll say,
oh, look, amazing, look.
It's embarrassing.
Look, she's made a salad.
We're talking mega millions that they allegedly spent before delivering the content Netflix expected. The only project that became a genuine hit was their documentary, where they absolutely destroyed the royal family. Everything else has been a disappointment that left Netflix executives questioning where all that investment money actually went. But here's where it gets really dramatic. Instead of cutting their losses and moving on, Netflix allegedly decided to keep the couple locked into producing more content until they've worked off what they owe. It's like being forced to stay at a job you hate because you borrowed money from your boss and can't pay it back. The so-called contract extension that Meghan and Harry announced with such fanfare, sources claim it's not new money at all. It's Netflix saying, we already gave you a fortune. Now you need to earn it back one special at a time. That's why we're getting Meghan's holiday show that absolutely nobody asked for, and why there are whispers about more documentaries and projects that feel forced rather than inspired.
Because they pocketed all the money. Like, I mean, this is kind of an obvious thing, but the reality here is, yeah, they had this Multilook first deal, right?
This revelation changes everything we thought we knew about their Hollywood success story. Instead of being sought-after content creators, they might actually be indentured servants to a streaming giant that's determined to get their money's worth one way or another. Let's break down exactly how this financial disaster unfolded. Back in 2020, when Harry and Meghan first stepped away from royal duties, they signed what was reported as a $100 million deal with Netflix. £75 million for our UK viewers. At the time, it seemed like the ultimate power move. Two royals walking away from the crown to become Hollywood moguls practically overnight, but sources are now claiming that Netflix structured this deal in a way that heavily favored upfront payments. The couple allegedly received massive sums of money before they'd proven they could actually deliver content that audiences wanted to watch. It was essentially Netflix betting big on the Sussex brand without really understanding what that brand was worth in the entertainment marketplace.
So, brilliant! Another 5-year contract worth $100 million, yeah? Oh, no.
The problem started almost immediately. While Harry and Meghan were busy setting up their new life in Montecito, buying their $16 million mansion and establishing their various business ventures, the content they were supposed to be creating for Netflix was either delayed, canceled, or just plain unsuccessful. Project after project failed to capture the public imagination or generate the kind of buzz that would justify such a massive investment. Remember Heart of Invictus, Harry's documentary series about wounded veterans? It barely made a ripple. Meghan's animated series Pearl got canceled before it even aired. Their production company, Archwell Productions, was supposed to be churning out hit after hit, but instead it was becoming clear that being famous doesn't automatically translate to being good at making television.
Meghan got a new deal is down to the fact that they already have pocketed the money, so they have to continue working until they've completed their obligations and produced more content.
The only genuine success was their 6-part documentary series where they essentially aired all the royal family's dirty laundry for the world to see. That show did generate massive viewership, but it also burned every bridge they had with Harry's family, and left many wondering what they'd do for an encore. You can only throw your relatives under the bus once, after all. Netflix executives started asking uncomfortable questions. Where was all the promised content? Why weren't any of their other projects connecting with audiences? And most importantly, what had happened to all that money they'd been paid up front? Sources claim that when contract renewal time came around, it wasn't a celebration of their success. It was more like a reckoning, where Netflix had to decide whether to cut their losses or find a way to recoup their investment. But that's when things got really interesting for Harry and Meghan. When Netflix executives reportedly sat down with Harry and Meghan to discuss their future. It wasn't the warm and fuzzy Hollywood meeting you might imagine.
Wait a minute. It's not quite as lucrative as that. In fact, the jury is out on whether or not the gruesome twosome's new relationship with the streaming giant is worth very much at all.
According to insiders, it was more like a come-to-Jesus moment where the streaming giant laid out some harsh realities about their partnership. Sources claim Netflix essentially told the couple, look, we invested massive money in you, and we need to see results, or we need to discuss other options. The conversation went something like this. Netflix reportedly said, we love that your documentary about the royal family was a hit, but everything else has been a disappointment. Where did all that money go? Did you spend it all already? Because we're gonna need either hit content, or we're gonna need to talk about getting our investment back somehow. Imagine being Harry and Meghan in that room. They'd already spent years building their new California lifestyle around that Netflix money. The Montecito mansion, the security costs, the private jets, the designer wardrobes for red carpet events, all of it allegedly funded by Netflix's upfront payments. Now they were being told that the gravy train might be coming to an end unless they could prove their worth. But here's where Netflix got really clever. Instead of demanding immediate repayment or starting legal proceedings to recover their investment, they reportedly offered Harry and Meghan a different kind of deal. Keep working for us until you've produced enough content to justify what we've already paid you. It's like being told you can work off your debt instead of paying it back in cash.
Yeah, Harry and Meghan, we love the documentary. It did really well, but nothing else has really worked. Where'd all the money go?
Sources claim Netflix made it clear that walking away wasn't really an option. The couple had allegedly already pocketed the money, so they needed to continue working until they'd completed their obligations and produced more content. It wasn't really a negotiation. It was more like Netflix saying, we own you now, so you better start delivering. The streaming giant sweetened the deal by promising that if Harry and Meghan could produce genuinely successful content, there might be opportunities for additional compensation down the road. But first, they needed to work off what they already owed. Think of it like a minimum wage job where you have to pay back a signing bonus before you can start earning real money again. This explains so much about their recent projects. Meghan's upcoming holiday special isn't some passion project she's excited about. It's content she has to produce, whether she wants to or not. Same with any future documentaries or series they announce. They're not creating because they're inspired. They're creating because they're contractually obligated to keep working until Netflix feels like they've gotten their money's worth. But the real bombshell was what Netflix told them about their backup plan. Here's where the story gets absolutely wild. When Harry and Meghan announced their contract extension with Netflix, they made it sound like the streaming giant was so thrilled with their work that they couldn't wait to do more business together. But sources are now claiming that this so-called extension is actually just a creative way of describing forced labor to pay off existing debt.
Did you guys spend all that money? We're hoping, you could actually deliver. Do you want to continue?
Think about it from Netflix's perspective. They'd already invested massive money in Harry and Meghan, and most of it hadn't paid off. They couldn't just write off that investment without looking foolish to their shareholders and other potential partners. But they also couldn't keep throwing good money after bad. So they came up with a solution that let everyone save face while getting what they needed. The extension reportedly doesn't involve any significant new money changing hands. Instead, it's Netflix saying, we're going to keep you on our roster, but you're going to keep producing content until we feel like our original investment has been justified. It's like extending someone's employment contract but not giving them a raise because they still owe you money from their signing bonus. This would explain why Harry and Meghan were so eager to announce the extension, despite the fact that their track record with Netflix has been mostly disappointing. They needed to make it look like they were still in demand and still successful, even though the reality might be that they're trapped in a contract they can't escape. Sources claim Netflix was very strategic about how they structured this alleged debt repayment plan. Instead of demanding a certain number of shows or a specific timeline, they reportedly gave Harry and Meghan a flexible arrangement where they can produce various types of content as long as it meets certain quality and viewership standards. Holiday specials, documentaries, reality shows, whatever works as long as it generates enough attention to justify Netflix's continued investment.
Harry's family can't stand him and don't talk to him anymore. No one talks to him because they don't trust him anymore.
The genius of this alleged arrangement is that it lets Netflix continue to benefit from the Harry and Meghan brand without having to risk any new money. They get content from two of the most talked about people in the world, and if that content succeeds, great. If it fails, well, they're just working off old debt anyway, so Netflix isn't losing anything new. For Harry and Meghan, this arrangement means they can keep claiming to be successful Hollywood producers while actually being stuck in what sources describe as a content prison. They can't walk away because they still owe Netflix money, but they also can't demand better terms because they're not really employees anymore. They're debtors working off what they owe. This also explains why their recent projects feel so desperate and attention-seeking. When you're not creating because you're inspired, but because you have to meet contractual obligations, the quality inevitably suffers. You start making content that's designed to generate buzz rather than content that's actually good. But the most shocking part might be what happened behind closed doors during those contract negotiations. According to explosive insider reports, the Netflix boardroom confrontation with Harry and Meghan was unlike anything the streaming giant had experienced before. Sources claim executives came prepared with detailed financial breakdowns showing exactly where the couple's massive upfront payments had gone, and the numbers were shocking even to seasoned Hollywood veterans. Picture this scene. Netflix executives reportedly laid out spreadsheets and financial documents showing that Harry and Meghan had burned through tens of millions of dollars while producing very little successful content. The couple allegedly sat there as executives went through line items showing private jet costs, security expenses, mansion payments, and lifestyle spending that had all been funded by Netflix money intended for content production.
The King and Queen of California's luxury lifestyle is staggeringly expensive.
One source reportedly described the atmosphere as incredibly tense. Netflix wasn't just disappointed about the lack of successful shows, they were allegedly furious that so much of their investment had gone toward funding Harry and Meghan's personal lifestyle rather than creating the kind of content that would justify such massive expenditure. The couple had essentially been living like A-list celebrities on Netflix's dime without delivering A-list results. The most damaging revelation came when Netflix executives presented data showing that, apart from their royal family documentary, none of Harry and Meghan's content had generated enough viewership to justify even a fraction of what they'd been paid. Heart of Invictus barely registered with audiences. Meghan's various projects had either been canceled or performed so poorly that Netflix was questioning whether the couple understood how the entertainment industry actually worked. But here's where it gets really dramatic. Sources claim that when Netflix demanded explanations for where all the money had gone, Harry and Meghan couldn't provide satisfactory answers. They'd apparently assumed that being famous was enough to guarantee success, and hadn't really understood that they needed to actually deliver quality content that people wanted to watch. Netflix executives allegedly told the couple that their spending habits looked more like those of trust fund kids than serious content creators.
So this idea, the family Christmas, really hypocritical, but mainly looking at
the $16 million Montecito mansion, the designer wardrobes, the constant travel, the massive security costs. All of it had been funded by Netflix's investment, but none of it had contributed to creating successful shows or documentaries. The confrontation reportedly reached a breaking point when Netflix executives asked point-blank whether Harry and Meghan had the ability to pay back what they owed if the partnership ended. Sources claim the couple's response made it clear that they'd spent the money and couldn't return it, which left Netflix with only one real option: keep them working until they'd produced enough content to justify the original investment. This alleged financial reckoning explains why the couple seemed so desperate to make their relationship with Netflix work. It wasn't about creative fulfillment or building a media empire. It was about avoiding financial disaster and potential legal consequences for failing to deliver on such a massive contract. But Netflix had one more card to play that would ensure they got their money's worth, no matter what happened. The only reason Harry and Meghan allegedly avoided complete financial catastrophe with Netflix was their 6-part documentary series that absolutely eviscerated the royal family. Sources claim this show became their lifeline, proving to Netflix executives that the couple could generate massive global attention when they were willing to burn bridges and spill family secrets. The documentary reportedly delivered exactly what Netflix had been hoping for when they first signed Harry and Meghan: massive viewership numbers, global media coverage, and the kind of cultural conversation that streaming platforms dream about. It became one of Netflix's most watched documentary series, vindicated their investment, and allegedly saved the couple from immediate financial ruin. But here's the twist that sources claim Netflix executives figured out pretty quickly.
You want us to sue you? You want us to come after the money? We're gonna need a breakdown of all that. Yeah, we're just gonna do some more specials and keep you on a first look deal in case you guys get divorced.
Harry and Meghan's biggest asset wasn't their creativity or their production skills. It was their willingness to air dirty laundry about the most famous family in the world. The documentary succeeded because people were fascinated by the drama, the accusations, and the insider details about royal life that had never been shared publicly before. Netflix allegedly realized they'd been paying for access to royal secrets rather than genuine entertainment talent. The couple's value came from their ability to generate controversy and headlines, not from their skills as content creators. This revelation reportedly changed how Netflix approached their ongoing relationship with Harry and Meghan. Sources claim Netflix executives told the couple that if they wanted to continue working together, they needed to understand what actually made them valuable. It wasn't their opinions on social issues or their attempts at inspirational content. It was their ability to create drama and generate the kind of buzz that gets people talking on social media and sharing clips with their friends. This allegedly explains why Meghan's upcoming holiday special feels so calculated and attention-seeking. Netflix reportedly told her that controversy and conversation drive viewership, so she needs to find ways to make even a Christmas show generate headlines and social media buzz. It's not about creating wholesome family content. It's about creating content that people will watch, discuss, and argue about online. The documentary's success also allegedly gave Netflix leverage in their negotiations with Harry and Meghan.
In case you guys get divorced, we may want to do that because, more and more signs are proving that that's probably going to happen.
The streaming giant could point to those viewership numbers and say, this is what we expect from you going forward. Not necessarily more family drama, but content that generates the same level of attention and cultural conversation. But sources claim Netflix was also smart enough to realize that Harry and Meghan couldn't keep attacking the royal family forever. Eventually, they'd run out of secrets to spill and bridges to burn. So allegedly, the streaming giant started planning for other ways the couple could generate controversy and maintain their value as content creators. This is reportedly where Netflix's long-term strategy gets really interesting. They allegedly weren't just thinking about what Harry and Meghan could produce while they were together. They were also considering what kind of content goldmine might emerge if the couple's marriage started falling apart. But first, they needed to lock the couple into producing more immediate content to work off their existing debt. Meghan's upcoming Netflix holiday special might be the most desperate piece of content ever produced by someone claiming to be a lifestyle guru. Sources are calling it the perfect example of how Netflix is allegedly squeezing every possible drop of content from their investment, even when it makes absolutely no sense for the person involved. Think about this for a moment. Meghan Markle, the woman who famously cut off her entire family and helped Harry abandon his, is now going to teach the world about holiday spirit and family togetherness. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife, but Netflix allegedly doesn't care about irony. They care about generating attention and fulfilling contractual obligations.
Losing $20 million a year is the last thing they need.
According to insiders, this holiday special wasn't Meghan's idea at all. It was allegedly Netflix executives telling her that she needed to produce easily marketable content that could fill a programming slot during the lucrative holiday season. They reportedly gave her a simple brief: create something festive that will generate social media buzz and keep your name in the headlines. The timing of this special is also allegedly very strategic. Netflix reportedly wanted to capitalize on the holiday season, when people are more likely to watch family-friendly content, but they also knew that anything featuring Meghan would automatically generate controversy. It's like they're deliberately courting the hate-watching audience while pretending to make wholesome entertainment. Sources claim Meghan initially resisted the idea because she knew how ridiculous it would look for someone who's estranged from her own family to be giving advice about holiday traditions. But Netflix allegedly made it clear that this wasn't really a request. She needed to produce content to work off her debt, and a holiday special was what they wanted from her. The show's promotional materials are reportedly being very carefully crafted to avoid mentioning family directly. Instead, they're focusing on vague concepts like celebration and togetherness, which allows Meghan to talk about the holidays without having to address the elephant in the room that she doesn't actually celebrate with any of her relatives. But Netflix executives allegedly see this holiday special as serving multiple purposes beyond just fulfilling Meghan's content obligations. They're reportedly hoping it will generate enough backlash and social media conversation to justify their continued investment in her personal brand. Controversy equals engagement, and engagement equals advertising revenue. The most telling detail might be that this special was allegedly fast-tracked into production without the usual development process that Netflix uses for their original content. Sources claim it was essentially thrown together as quickly as possible to get something holiday-themed featuring Meghan onto the platform before the end of the year. This speaks to Netflix's alleged strategy of treating Harry and Meghan's content as quantity over quality. They're not trying to create prestige television or award-winning documentaries. They're trying to generate enough content to justify their investment while maximizing the attention that comes from having two of the world's most controversial figures on their platform. But the holiday special serves another purpose that's even more calculating than just debt repayment. Here's where Netflix's strategy allegedly gets really calculating and cold-blooded.
Meghan is a massive scam artist. First of all, that season was filmed alongside season 1.
Sources claim the streaming giant deliberately structured their extended deal with Harry and Meghan as a divorce insurance policy, keeping the couple locked in specifically because they believe a potential split could be the content goldmine of the century. Think about it from Netflix's perspective. They've already invested massive money in Harry and Meghan as a couple. But what if that couple doesn't last? A royal divorce involving accusations, custody battles, and family drama would be absolutely explosive television. Netflix allegedly wants to make sure they have first dibs on that potential content bonanza. Insiders reportedly say Netflix executives have been watching the warning signs in Harry and Meghan's marriage with the same attention they pay to their viewership data. The couple's separate public appearances, the body language experts analyzing their interactions, the rumors about tension behind closed doors. All of it allegedly factors into Netflix's long-term content strategy. Sources claim Netflix told Harry and Meghan during their contract negotiations that if things between them ever go south, the streaming platform wants exclusive access to tell that story. It's allegedly written into their agreement that Netflix gets first rights to any content related to their personal lives, including potential relationship drama or family breakdown. This would explain why Netflix was so willing to extend their deal despite the couple's mixed track record with successful content. They're not just betting on Harry and Meghan as content creators, they're allegedly betting on Harry and Meghan as potential subjects of the kind of real-life drama that generates massive global attention. The genius of this alleged strategy is that Netflix wins either way. If Harry and Meghan stay together and produce decent content, great. If they fall apart and create the kind of messy public divorce that would dominate headlines for months, even better. Either scenario justifies keeping them under contract and continuing to invest in their brand.
That was already in the can beforehand. It's not like she's come out and said, oh, actually, we've been filming this the whole time you've said that my contract's cancelled. Not true.
Sources reportedly say Netflix executives have been studying the viewership data from other high-profile celebrity breakups and divorces. They know that people are absolutely fascinated by the behind-the-scenes drama of famous relationships falling apart, especially when it involves royalty and accusations of betrayal or manipulation. This alleged divorce insurance policy also explains why Netflix might be willing to tolerate mediocre content from Harry and Meghan in the short term. They're not just paying for current shows and specials, they're allegedly paying for access to what could be one of the biggest entertainment stories of the decade if the marriage implodes. But Netflix's calculating approach to Harry and Meghan's relationship allegedly goes even deeper than just hoping for dramatic content. Sources claim they've been positioning themselves to benefit from the couple's personal drama while also protecting their investment if things get really messy. The streaming giant allegedly wants to maintain relationships with both Harry and Meghan individually, just in case they need to choose sides or work with them separately in the future. It's like they're hedging their bets on every possible outcome of this royal marriage. But while Netflix was allegedly planning for Harry and Meghan's potential divorce, another member of the royal family was making moves that would humiliate Meghan in a completely different way. Just when Meghan thought she couldn't be more humiliated by her Netflix situation, King Charles allegedly delivered the most brutal business blow imaginable. While she's trapped making holiday specials to pay off streaming debts, the king launched his own jam business at exactly half the price of her American Riviera orchard preserves.
The swathe of guests that she's had on are all people who have Netflix shows already on the platform and have actually invited themselves then onto the show.
The timing was allegedly so perfect, it had to be intentional. Picture this scenario. Meghan spends months building hype for her lifestyle brand, sending out those infamous jam jars to celebrities and influencers, positioning herself as some kind of artisanal preserve expert. She's charging $14 a jar for her exclusive American Riviera orchard products, clearly targeting the luxury market and trying to establish herself as a premium lifestyle guru. Then King Charles, who's literally battling cancer and dealing with the stress of being the new monarch, casually drops his Sandringham preserves for $6.70 per jar. Not only is he undercutting Meghan's pricing by more than half, but he's doing it while managing the entire British Commonwealth and receiving medical treatment. The message couldn't be clearer if he'd taken out a full-page ad saying Meghan's overpriced jam is a joke. Sources close to the royal family reportedly say the timing of Charles's jam launch was absolutely deliberate. The king allegedly wanted to remind everyone that the royal family has been in the luxury goods business for centuries, long before Meghan ever thought about slapping her name on some preserves and charging ridiculous prices for them. The most savage part of this alleged business warfare is that Charles's jam is being sold at the Sandringham gift shop, one of the most prestigious retail locations in the world. Meanwhile, Meghan's American Riviera orchard products are allegedly struggling to find distribution beyond celebrity gift bags and social media marketing campaigns. But here's where it gets really interesting.
So it's a very artificially curated second season. She's got Jay Shetty, who's a disgraced guru. She's got Tan France, who's on Queer Eye.
Netflix executives allegedly see this royal jam battle as exactly the kind of drama that justifies keeping Meghan under contract. The streaming giant reportedly loves when she's involved in controversies that generate headlines and social media buzz, even when those controversies make her look ridiculous. Sources claim Netflix actually encouraged Meghan to respond to Charles's jam launch through her content, possibly incorporating the business rivalry into her holiday special or future documentaries. They allegedly see the family drama and business competition as content opportunities rather than embarrassing setbacks. This royal jam war also allegedly highlights how trapped Meghan has become in her Netflix obligations. Instead of being able to focus entirely on building her lifestyle brand and competing with Charles on equal terms, she's supposedly stuck producing holiday specials and working off streaming debts, while the king eats into her potential market share. The contrast couldn't be more stark. Charles is running a country, fighting cancer, and still managing to launch a successful business that undercuts his daughter-in-law's pricing. Meanwhile, Meghan is allegedly trapped making Netflix content she doesn't really want to create, while watching her jam business get destroyed by better products at lower prices. But Netflix doesn't care about Meghan's business humiliation as long as it generates the kind of attention and controversy that drives viewership to their platform. Netflix executives have allegedly discovered something fascinating about Harry and Meghan's content. It doesn't matter if people actually like what they're watching, as long as they're watching. Sources claim the streaming giant has fully embraced a hate-watching strategy where controversy and criticism actually drive more engagement than genuine entertainment value. The numbers reportedly tell an incredible story. While Harry and Meghan's documentary about the royal family generated massive backlash and negative commentary, it also became one of Netflix's most-watched series. People weren't tuning in because they loved the couple. They were watching because they wanted to see what outrageous claims would be made next, or because they enjoyed getting angry about the accusations being thrown around. Netflix allegedly realized they'd stumbled onto a goldmine of engagement that had nothing to do with traditional entertainment metrics. Social media buzz, online arguments, reaction videos, and news coverage all contribute to a show's cultural impact, regardless of whether that coverage is positive or negative. Hate-watching generates just as much revenue as love-watching, and sometimes even more. This revelation reportedly changed how Netflix approaches content featuring Harry and Meghan. Instead of trying to make them likable or relatable, the streaming platform allegedly encourages them to be provocative and controversial. The goal isn't to win hearts and minds, it's to generate the kind of strong reactions that keep people talking and sharing clips online. Sources claim Netflix executives specifically told Meghan that her holiday special should include elements that will spark debate and social media conversation. They allegedly don't want wholesome family entertainment. They want content that will generate think pieces, reaction videos, and endless online arguments about whether Meghan has any business talking about family traditions. The genius of this alleged hate-watching strategy is that it's almost impossible to fail. If Harry and Meghan produce content that people genuinely enjoy, great. If they produce content that makes people angry or frustrated, that's also great, because angry viewers are still engaged viewers who drive up the algorithm and generate advertising revenue. Netflix reportedly studied the social media metrics around Harry and Meghan's previous content and discovered that negative reactions often generated more engagement than positive ones. People who hate-watch their documentary were more likely to share clips, write comments, and discuss the content with friends than people who simply enjoyed it quietly. This allegedly explains why so much of Harry and Meghan's recent content feels deliberately tone-deaf or provocative. It's not an accident that Meghan is making a holiday special about family when she's estranged from her own relatives. Netflix reportedly wants that contradiction because it guarantees that people will have strong reactions and opinions. The streaming platform allegedly sees Harry and Meghan as content creators who specialize in generating controversy rather than traditional entertainment. Their value isn't in their storytelling ability or production skills. It's in their unique ability to make people feel strongly about whatever they're doing, whether those feelings are positive or negative. But this hate-watching strategy comes with risks that Netflix is carefully monitoring as they plan for the future. So what does all this allegedly mean for Harry and Meghan's future? Sources claim they're trapped in a content prison that could last for years, forced to keep producing Netflix specials and documentaries, not because they want to, but because they still owe the streaming giant massive amounts of money that they've already spent on their California lifestyle. The most shocking part might be that this alleged arrangement could actually get worse for the couple over time. As their novelty wears off and people become less interested in their drama, Netflix reportedly expects them to become even more provocative and controversial to maintain viewership levels. They might be forced to share increasingly personal details or create increasingly desperate content just to fulfill their contractual obligations. Sources claim Harry and Meghan are already showing signs of strain from this alleged pressure. Their separate public appearances, the rumors about tension in their marriage, and their increasingly desperate attempts to stay relevant all reportedly stem from the stress of being locked into producing content they don't really want to make while owing money they can't repay. But Netflix allegedly sees this stress and potential relationship drama as just another content opportunity. If Harry and Meghan's marriage does fall apart under the pressure, the streaming platform reportedly has first dibs on documenting that breakdown for global consumption. It's like they're betting on the couple's misery either way. The most tragic aspect of this alleged situation is that Harry and Meghan thought they were escaping the constraints of royal life, only to find themselves trapped in an entertainment industry contract that might be even more restrictive than anything they faced as working royals. At least royal duties came with genuine purpose and public service. Their Netflix obligations allegedly exist solely to pay off debt and generate corporate profits. Looking ahead, sources claim this alleged content prison could continue for years unless Harry and Meghan find some way to buy out their contract or generate enough successful content to finally work off what they owe. But with their track record of producing mostly unsuccessful shows, that seems increasingly unlikely. The couple reportedly can't walk away because they've already spent the money. They can't demand better terms because they're essentially debtors rather than valued partners. And they can't refuse to produce content because Netflix allegedly has legal remedies to enforce their contractual obligations. This whole situation might be the perfect example of how Hollywood success isn't always what it appears to be. Harry and Meghan looked like they'd achieved the ultimate dream by landing a massive Netflix deal. But sources now claim that deal has become their nightmare, trapping them in a cycle of producing content they don't believe in to pay off debts they can't escape. So what do you think about this alleged Netflix content prison? Do you believe Harry and Meghan are really trapped in their streaming deal, forced to keep making shows just to work off the money they already spent? And if this is true, how long do you think their marriage can survive the pressure of being contractually obligated to share their lives with the world? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this story is far from over. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more explosive revelations about the royals. The next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.